Hello, I'm Ray Bradshaw and this is a Scottish Football Podcast. All the news, views and analysis you need on Friday the 5th of December.
So we're still playing here and it's going on to 99 minutes. But St Mirren absolutely piling the pressure on, corner after corner, throwing after throwing, cross ball, another one coming in, and lads, it's in the back of the net. It's a third and equaliser. It's quite incredible.
Last year Hibs' season was transformed after a 3-each draw against Aberdeen. St Mirren will be hoping for the same as they welcome a stuttering Dundee United team.
By Rami to salvage a point for Rangers, right footed, top corner. It's 2-2. It is a sickening blow for Dundee United.
Last minute penalty and equaliser saved Rangers' blushes on Wednesday night, but can they get back to winning ways against the Kilmarnock side who'll be hoping they're starting to turn a corner? We'll preview all the Premiership action this weekend, including the big one on Sunday, with the big two, Hearts and Celtic, go head to head in Glasgow.
Just at the edge of the box, he's on the right, he shoots, he scores! Well, just listen to Tynecastle, listen to that roar from the Hearts fans. Their team has the lead back here against the champions.
We've got all the weekend's action covered.
The Scottish Football Podcast.
Yeah, we've got a really exciting weekend of Scottish football, and sometimes you say it and you don't mean it, but this is actually one of the good ones. We've got two good guests on today. First up, we've got Joelle Murray, Scotland and Hibs legend recently. Actually, Joelle, what's it like being called a legend? Is that a good way to be called?
I don't know. I don't really like it, to be honest, Ray, but not for any other reason than I like to be the person in the background that's not in the spotlight or getting called all these glamorous names. So yeah, it's nice, but Joelle Murray's fine.
I love how you're like, I don't like being called a legend, but I'll happily take an award off Atletico Bilbao in front of 30,000 of their fans walking out with Jamie Carragher. I saw the pictures. It looked cool. Our other guest today, Cammy Bell, goalkeeper with numerous clubs, Kelly, Rangers, Dundee United, Partick Thistle. Cammy, were you ever at a club long enough to be called a legend?
No, I've been called many other things, but certainly not a legend. And I still am getting called them things as well. But no, listen, Joelle's definitely a legend, that's for sure. I can confirm that.
What's Cammy? See, when you're obviously goalie, you're probably closest to the fans. Who's the worst away fans?
Oh, I don't know. See, when I played in the lower leagues with Rangers, that's when it was really opened your eyes. You played loads of games in the top flight, and the stadiums are quite far away from the goals, but you're taking a goal kick and some folk are tapping you in the shoulder and calling you all sorts. So I can remember down at Stranraer, there was a few of them where you were that close to the edge of the pitch that folk were touching you when you were trying to take a goal kick. So yeah, listen, there's been a lot of nice fans, but a lot of unpleasant ones as well, may I say.
Well, my dad's a Stranraer fan, so I'd like to apologise on behalf of my family, because no doubt it could have been him. Let's kick off, right? So Saturday afternoon, St Mirren against Dundee United. Both teams in serious need of a victory. United to be gutted after that last minute equaliser. Rangers got, I saw more chat of penalties against Fernandes on Wednesday and Thursday morning. Joelle, was that a good point against an improving Rangers team, or do you think that was 2 points dropped?
I think before the game, they probably would have taken a point, to be honest, Ray, given their kind of inconsistent form at the moment. However, given the way the game played out, the controversial moments, the penalty incidents, the VAR moments, I think they'll be extremely disappointed not to take the 3 points there.
And St Mirren were the beneficiaries of a last-minute equaliser in midweek. Do you think, Cammy, can they use that as a stepping stone to climb the table? We said in the introduction about that 3-each draw that Hibs had against Aberdeen, the Rocky Bashiri moment, Joel, that I'm sure you've seen numerous times, it transformed his season. How do you think St Mirren are going to go, Cammy?
Yeah, listen, I think it's a difficult game for St Mirren. Any game at the moment is, because they can't seem to find any sort of form. I think there was a big result for them at the weekend, and again, just the energy they'll get from that last-minute goal. Hopefully, they'll be able to transfer that into the game against Dundee United. They're at home. Stephen Robinson really needs to turn it around. I know last weekend he did say to the press, look, we are in a relegation battle. There's no getting away from it. That's where we're at this moment in time. 11 points. Isn't good enough after 14 games for St Mirren. So I feel as if if they can build on that last minute goal energy that they got, because it is a big lift when you get a last minute goal, you take that into the changing room, you try and feed off of that, and I'm pretty sure that's what Stephen Robinson will be doing. But it's a tough game. It's a big game for both teams because, as Joelle said, Dundee United aren't in great form either. There's pressure mounting on both managers and both clubs.
Yeah, because I don't know, like, I hate doing this because now I am part of the media that does this, and I used to complain about all this before, but Joelle, are we anywhere near the point where we can start talking about a little bit of pressure on either Stephen Robinson or Jim Goodwin?
I think it's difficult. I think there's a lot of football to be played, and naturally, once we see the split, you're playing teams in and around you week in, week out. So I think it is a little bit early. You can see a definitive top half and bottom half split in terms of points and performances. But yeah, I think two teams that will be desperate for 3 points at the weekend.
That's it's going to be really, really interesting to see where it goes, because from last season, you thought both teams, there was so much credit in the bank, and we're forgetting. St Mirren got a cup final in 2 weeks as well. You've got to add that in. Let's go to the capital. Potentially a great match, which is the kiss of death for me. So this is 0-0 written all over it now. Two teams locked in 21 points. Hibs against Falkirk. Cammy, who's your money on for this one?
Oh, I think it'll be a cracking game. I really do. I think two good teams, two attacking teams, two teams that'll go there wanting to win the game as well. So Falkirk obviously probably a little bit disappointed after drawing at home, and again that's where they're at. That's a measure of where they're at, that they'll probably slightly disappointed with a 0-0 against Motherwell during the week. Hibs obviously didn't have that midweek game, so there'll be a little bit more fresher going into it. But it's a game that I'm really looking forward to. A game that they're locked on points, so you've got to probably put Hibs slightly favourites being at home. But certainly Falkirk, listen, they've surprised everyone this season. I think a lot of people had them down the bottom of the table, struggling to stay in the league, and they've been very, very impressive.
Yeah, I remember listening to Off the Ball on the opening day of the season, and some idiot called Ray Bradshaw tipped them for relegation, so really enjoying their rise. Joelle, let me ask for Hibs' point of view. I mean, I can ask you this because you're currently sitting in front of the stadium in the backdrop, so I feel like you're a legitimate Hibs person. A win could put them in third place, but why do you think fans are grumbling a little bit?
I think the inconsistency in their performances, Ray. I think obviously last season, the second half of last season in particular, we had a fantastic run of form and results, and I think the expectation was that we would pick up from there and really use that as a springboard into this season, especially on the back of the retention of players, the new signings. But whether it be injuries, illness, or just a genuine dip in form, we've not really had the consistency that we showed towards the tail end of last season. So I think that's why the fans are frustrated. However, when you do look at the table, like you said, sitting on 21 points, we're fifth, but a few points takes you right up there. So yeah, it's a difficult one because it's a results-driven business. We of course want to play nice football, but we are still in and amongst the top end of the table. So certainly a win for either team on Saturday will put them right in amongst it.
Yeah, and there's two other fixtures we'll chat about that before we get into our final two. We've got Motherwell against Livy, the so-called best football team in Scotland. David Martindale needing a bit of luck changing. The Cammy, easy points for high-flying Motherwell this game?
I don't think it'll be easy points. I don't think there is any in this league. David Martindale will set his team up to try and frustrate Motherwell. I probably imagine he would sit in with a counter-attack looking sort of shape on Saturday. But Motherwell, yes, I've seen them a few times and I am really impressed by them. The way they play, I think they've grown as well with their style. You can see every day in training they obviously work on the way they want to play. and they're getting more confident. They're starting to get results, because for a while there was a period where they were playing great football but they weren't getting results, and question marks were starting to get asked. What's more important, the style or the results? But they've managed to turn that around. They've continued with this style, which all the Motherwell fans are loving, and they're getting results now as well. So listen, they're in a brilliant position. If you'd asked any Motherwell fan that at the start of December, you're sitting third, they wouldn't have believed that. And it's a great turnaround, and they're great to watch. So I fancy Motherwell, but do I think it'll be an easy game? Absolutely not.
Yeah, it's, I like watching his interviews as well, Askew. I really enjoy it. The other game we're going to go, Dundee against Aberdeen. Joelle, I feel like Dundee and Aberdeen, two teams that Cammy Bell could have played for. Did you ever play for either of them, Cammy?
No,
feels like
the ones that didn't play for.
Yeah, it feels like when I'm scrolling down your Wikipedia, I'd get a loan move in about 2012 there. Joelle, for you, Dundee's a really hard one to read, isn't it? They got a massive win against St Mirren last week. They lose in midweek, but that was against Celtic, so it doesn't count. They'll be looking to push on and pick something up. But so will Aberdeen, because they're slowly climbing the table. Jimmy Tillene's kind of in the clear. Where do you see this one going, Joelle?
Yeah, I think for me, Aberdeen, an Aberdeen win. I think they had a slow and sticky start to the season. They, of course, conceded that 99th minute equaliser during the week, but I think, and games aren't won on stats or facts or anything, they met back in October at Pittodrie with Aberdeen winning that 4-0, which was their first win of the season. That seems to be the catalyst for a kind of decent run of form. So, yeah, I think for me, it's an Aberdeen one. Dundee don't seem to have picked up and really propelled on from that Celtic victory at home. So, yeah, a close one, I think, but I think Aberdeen will take the points.
And remember, the build-up to the Saturday football starts early on Radio Scotland with Amy Irons and Stephen Mill kicking off the day at 9 a.m. on the Saturday show. This week, they're catching up with Ian Hislop and hopefully talking to someone from every country Scotland get in the World Cup draw. Plus, they've got a very handsome bald ginger comedian on called Ray Bradshaw. Check out for that. Let's go to the Saturday evening match. Cammy, you'll be at this one. Two of your former clubs. It's Rangers against Kilmarnock. So this one feels a bit pivotal already. They've drawn the last two league games. How do you think this one's going to go? Do you think Danny Rohl's going to get the win?
I think it'll be a really tough game for Danny Rohl and Rangers going to Rugby Park. We always know for years it's been a difficult venue to go. You mentioned the AstroTurf pitch, just the stadium, everything about it. It's really hard place to go and get points, but it's one that I feel like Danny Rohl needs to get a victory. They've had that 0-0 draw at home to Falkirk, who are going well, but it's one you expect Rangers to win. They get a 0-0 draw, and then again they managed to just scramble a draw against Dundee United at Tannadice. So their form's not been great. I feel as if they're weak in both boxes. They're not ruthless at the top of the pitch. You look defensively, the two centre-halves certainly don't fill me full of confidence. So I think there's vulnerabilities there for Kilmarnock to exploit. So I think this is going to be a really tough game. I can probably see it potentially being a draw, to be honest, because Kilmarnock are starting to find a little bit of a way to get points on the board. And again, it would be another good point if they can manage to do that at Rugby Park.
Yeah, I was saying to Cammy, Joelle, before we started that it shows how fickle football fans are, because on Wednesday night I was on my phone and it was saying Kettlewell out, and then they get an equaliser and that kind of dies down for Killie fans. 2 draws in a row. Feels like they might be turning a corner. They've had a lot of injury problems. Can I ask you both? So, Joelle, we'll start with yourself. So, the transfer window's obviously looming over us. We've got, 26 days until it opens. If you're a member of that Kilmarnock squad, if you're a member of that Rangers squad, is that a little bit unsettling? If you're in and out the team, you're not sure what it's going to do. Does that hang over you?
I think from a Rangers perspective, this will be, correct me if I'm wrong, Danny Rohl's first window. So for those players, they might be thinking a bit differently to the Kilmarnock players, because obviously Danny Rohl's working with players that he of course didn't sign. So from a Rangers perspective, I think the January window might be interesting. However, they have spent a lot of money. So do they commit to the players that they've spent a lot of money on, or did they give Danny Rohl the opportunity to bring in his players? But from a Kilmarnock perspective, I think slightly different. Obviously, budgets, comparison, and things like that. But I really think Kilmarnock and Stuart Kettlewell just need a little bit of time. Hopefully that point midweek is the catalyst for them to really turn things around, because it's not been a great season, to say the least. So yeah, I think we'll see potentially two different transfer windows and activities in the transfer window from both of those clubs.
Yeah, Cammy, how much of an overhaul do you think Rangers need? Because they did one in the summer. They've spent big on the 8 million for Chimite gets bandied around. How much do you think Danny Rohl will want to transform?
Listen, if Danny Rohl could change his whole team, I think he would. I really do. I think he's at that stage that it would be his decision. But again, it's not going to happen because they've spent so much money. It'll be interesting to see how much the owners allow Danny Rohl to spend. But I know what he'll need to do is first and foremost get players out the door, which is always difficult for a manager. Players have got contracts. The squad's not good enough at the moment. There's no getting away from that. You can see it on the pitch. Danny Rohl, for me, is doing everything to try and get the best out of these players, but it's not getting the results that Rangers as a football club need. So I think there's a massive overhaul needed. Will it happen all in January? Absolutely not. I think it's going to be a few windows before this can get sorted out. But yeah, it's for me, some of the money that was spent was absolutely crazy. Again, the fees that were spent on players that were unproven was ridiculous. So yeah, and I think they're feeling the pain for that at the moment, and we're seeing that on the pitch.
Finally to Sunday, the big one. Celtic against Hearts, 3 o'clock kickoff. We've seen it coming for weeks, and it's just got bigger and bigger, with both clubs now locked on the same points. Martin O'Neill done an incredible job. There's no point in this game won't be pivotal in deciding who wins the league in May. This game, Joelle, is huge. So I think it begs the question. I find this fascinating. Is this the right time for Wilfried Nancy to come straight in to the job? It seems like the ones from a football fan perspective, this is the one where you sit in the third tier of the stand, in the nice seats, watching over, and then you take over the next day. What do you make of him going straight in there?
Yeah, I think it's madness, to be honest. I think the pressure on him, or maybe not, he might thrive on this type of pressure, but I think the pressure coming into a top of the table clash on the back of a legend returning to the club, turning things around in the, I think, 8 games he had at the club, to be given your first game, I think it's mad. It can go one of two ways, obviously. They win, starts his Celtic career on a very, very positive note. They don't, or the fans shouting for Martin O'Neill back. It's difficult.
Yeah, we will actually. I'd never thought of that. We will actually see that. People shouting for Martin O'Neill back. What a job he's done. Cammy, I was, because I'm a football loser, I was reading about Wilfried Nancy's favoured formation. It seems like he likes a 3-4-3. Celtic maybe don't have the right players to play that just now. There was talks of who will be the players that kind of will excel in that formation, who's people that might struggle a bit. Do you think he's going to change formation, put his same team out that he wants straight away, or do you think he'll kind of take O'Neill's approach until the transfer window?
Just with the short period of time that he's had to work with players, I can't see him changing it dramatically for this such a big game. And listen, it's almost a sink or swim week for the manager coming in, because again, they've got a top of the table clash, they then face Roma, and then they've got a cup final to deal with. So listen, he has got one hell of a week ahead of him, and he's got to hit the ground running. We know that when you join Celtic, you've got to win the fans over straight away, and he's got the opportunity. Listen, if he goes and wins all 3 of them games, he'll be hailed as a hero already. So it is that type of moment. There's massive pressure, and it's going to be interesting to see how he approaches it, because I don't think he should change a lot. Celtic are now winning games of football. Martindale done an incredible job in a short period of time, managed to turn it around from all that negativity, from getting beat at Tynecastle to then winning all the games apart from that one against Midtjylland in the Europa League. So yeah, I think they're in a good place. So why change too much? Just tweak little bits and feel your way into it, and it's going to be some week for him.
And let's go to the other side of the country then, Joelle. So what's the game plan for Hearts? Do they go for the victory? Do they try get a draw? How do you think Derek McInnes is going to approach it?
I don't know. I think maybe would have been a different approach if it was a home game for them. But I think he'll approach it. They're of course on a run. I don't think they've picked up a win since that game early November against Dundee, I think. So they're on a run of draws, defeats. So yeah, I think they'll go there for the win. I don't think you can go to Celtic Park and play any other way. I think if they try and sit back and try and go on the counter, I don't think that suits them. I think they've got the quality in the team to really go there and be competitive. They've got players like Shankland and Braga and others who are in form, scoring goals. So yeah, I think they've got the quality to go there in a positive mindset and really go for the win. Yeah,
it's Cammy. I don't know if it's similar to Aberdeen last season, and not the result-wise, but people like myself, who's not an Old Firm fan, I love the idea of another team winning the league. It's not happened really in my lifetime. I was born in 1988, so it's not really happened. Did we get too overexcited too early with Hearts, Cammy, do you think? Or do you think Derek McInnes' team will still make a decent title challenge?
I think some people got too excited. Again, it was very early. It was a brilliant start, taking nothing away from Hearts, the way they started the season. And at the moment where they're sitting, Derek McInnes will be delighted. If you'd said to him, start of December, you're sitting top of the tree, then that's where he wants to be. Do I think they will win the league? Not for me at this moment in time, but I think they'll absolutely be competitive between now and the end of the season. I think they're just having a little bit of a wobble, but not too much. I think they'll be competitive in the game on Sunday. And as Joelle said, I think the best way for Hearts to approach this is to go and try and win the game, because they've got players that can win the game. You look at midweek, Celtic, they got by against Dundee, but they offered up a number of opportunities. So I think with guys at the top of the pitch like Braga and Shankland, they can hurt Celtic. So listen, I think Hearts will be competitive from now to the end of the season, absolutely, and they'll certainly be up there. But for me, I think they're maybe just a little bit short to win the league this season.
Oh, it was so exciting for a little bit, wasn't it? It really was. Not for you, Joelle, but for the rest of us, it really was. Final quick question. It's not in the script, and some of you will be listening to this podcast regularly and you're thinking in your head, there's a script. Yes, there is. Who would have thought that? World Cup draw is happening today and tomorrow. We'll get the fixtures that were given tomorrow about 5 o'clock. The draw, find out who's in our team today. Joelle and Cammy, a simple question each. Do you want the big guns in our group or do you want smaller countries? Are you wanting the Brazils, countries like that, or are you wanting the Haitis? Are you wanting the Curaçaos? Cammy Bell, what do you want?
I want the smaller teams, to be honest. I would love Scotland to progress. And again, what I'm wanting is just to be on the east side of the country so that I can potentially go. I'm hoping to go and take my daughter, so I'm hoping the draw will be kind to me in my pocket, and I'll be this side of the country. But yeah, listen, I think if we can avoid the big ones, we have got a brilliant team. We really have a really talented group. So if we can avoid the big guns, then there's no reason we can't progress from this. So yeah, listen, it's just exciting. Today is a massive day for the country and everyone's excited to see the draw.
Yep, Joelle, are you in Cammy's side? Do you want the smaller teams, do you want the big boys?
I'm in agreement with Cammy. I'll take the big boys once we qualify and progress from the group.
That's I just get a little bit of goosebumps and a little bit of sick in my mouth at the thought of Scotland at a World Cup. It's going to be great. That's all we've got time for. Many thanks to Joelle and Cammy, and thank you for listening. There's championship action on the BBC Scotland channel tonight from 7:10 with coverage of Morton against Queen's Park, and there's also going to be live reaction to the draw, so tune into that on the BBC Scotland channel. And remember, we are here with new episodes of the Scottish Football Podcast bright and early every day. We're also going to have a special World Cup Draw reaction podcast coming out, so keep an eye out for that. Just to make sure you don't miss out on anything like that, subscribe on BBC Sounds and have push notifications turned on in your phone. So there we have it. An excellent weekend of Scottish football. I wish all your teams luck, unless you're Ayr, because we are playing them on Saturday, so I hope we beat you. And finally, the World Cup draw. Keep an eye out for it, because there is a chance Cammy Bell's going, you could have a beer with him in Philadelphia. What is more magical than Scottish football than that? Thanks for listening. Bye-bye.
For everything you need to know about your team this season, download the BBC Sport app. All the latest news, goal updates, stats and scores, and insight and analysis. Just select your club to get the biggest stories and best content at your fingertips. What a result. Download the BBC Sport app for everything you need to know about your team this season.